Is it better to be BRAT or is it better to be Demure? I view it as a sort of like thesis, antithesis.
It can be taken a little bit too extremely, like being too overconfident.
To the extent where you're, imposing on the rights or the well-being of other people. Does it really have to be one or the other?
Instead of pushing others down to achieve success, instead we lift each other up.
But you don't have to be so considerate to the extent where you're compromising your sense of self. You feel like you always have to conform to other people's expectations or rules. That's not necessarily the case. What can you learn from the other side, right?
Yeah.
Hello, we are back. Welcome back to Cozy Psych. You know what time it is.
What time is it, Selena?
Tea time or coffee time?
That's definitely coffee. It's jammy time.
It's jammy time. It's Cozy Psych time. Woo! Yes, welcome back to Cozy Psych.
Thank you for being here today.
We really appreciate you for clicking this video. Here at Cozy Psych, we love talking about everyday
conversations,
casual, fun things. Sometimes about pop culture. Today it's about pop culture. Sometimes it's about grad school psychology, but always through a psychological lens. Because who are we again?
We are fourth-year clinical interns.
Fourth-year graduate clinical and counseling psychology interns. We are currently practicing. We're starting to practice. We're doing our supervised internship, seeing people,
completing our hours,
doing supervised therapy, and that's where we are at. We're almost done with our degrees. So if you'd like to continue, if you're interested in our journey, we'd love for you to be part of
our journey,
us, and support us, and we'll support you guys back. So
click that notification bell, please.
We'd really appreciate if every like and every subscribe is monumental to us right now, because we're just starting out. So thank you for being here. So so today,
what are we talking about? You said something about pop culture.
Yeah, right. So I showed Bella a couple of TikToks. I was trying to explain. Sometimes Bella can be a little bit she lives kind of under the rock, under the sea.
Just for context, I live under the sea. I'm basically a mermaid.
Basically, sure. Or SpongeBob.
Patrick Star.
Or all of us.
One of those. So Selena really had to explain what this new trend on TikTok about.
It's so interesting. It's being very demure, very mindful, and I'll insert a few TikTok videos here.
You see how I do my makeup for work? Very demure, very mindful. I don't come to work with a green cut crease. I don't look like a clown when I go to work. I don't do too much. I'm very mindful while I'm at work. A lot of you girls go to the interview looking like Marge Simpson and go to the job looking like Patty and Selma. Not demure. I'm very modest. I'm very mindful. You see my shirt? Only a little chichi out, not my chocho. Be mindful of why they hired you.
What did you say?
Do you see how I'm pumping in gas so my wife doesn't have to tomorrow? Very thoughtful, very mindful, very demure. Do you see how I'm holding the gas nozzle so my wife doesn't have to get her hands dirty? Very considerate, very clean, very demure.
See how I sign off on this email? Very demure. I'm not doing too much when I sign off on my email.
See how I post that Instagram story? Very demure, very mindful.
So really interesting, this trend. And this trend came right after the whole BRAT summer trend, which I've also needed to explain to Bella. I'll insert a few videos about BRAT here
summer.
too.
Charlie XCX was asked, what does it mean to be a brat? She said, brat behavior stems from insecurities. It is this combination of ultra confidence, yet ultra vulnerability. It is not one or the other, it's both. And the fact that most of the time, people who are ultra confident actually have this sense of ultra insecurity, and that the reason they have this tough exterior is because they're so insecure. Maybe you're very insecure about something, so you really try so hard to change that about yourself physically or emotionally, and how that creates this tough sense of feeling confident and happy about that, but also constantly insecure about that. And that's why you're thinking about it and working on it so much. And how you kind of put up these walls and then project those insecurities on to other people. I mean, even I can think of so many times where, you feel anxious or insecure about something or someone or a conversation you had, and you're like, well, they were just weird, or I just didn't like them, blah, blah, blah. And it's actually because you're thinking about your own insecurity and worried about like your own relationship with that.
Like if we were to just wrap it in green black paper. AirPods, not BRAT. Headphones with the cord, BRAT. Like that's BRAT. It can be speedboat, but it can also be. There you go. It can be like a cigarette in the gut.
First it was being about BRAT, and now it's being like Demure. And I was thinking about like what is really is it better to be BRAT, or is it better to be Demure or mindful? Like, isn't that like it's like a funny question. It's interesting because, for example, let's go to BRAT first. If we're trying to talk about what it means to be BRAT, right? Like according to the video, it's like Charlie XCX said that it's about projecting this ultra confidence at the same time being ultra insecure. And kind of projecting that and yet being unapologetically yourself, unapologetically confident, very genuine. And I think it's good to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that the Demure trend came right after the BRAT trend. It's like I view it as a sort of like thesis, antithesis response in pop culture. Yeah. Like
I guess it goes back to like your question, which one is it really good to be too confident? So I guess like maybe the Demure trend came up afterwards, maybe as a way to respond to
just a natural pushback.
It's just a natural pushback. I think that there's a natural tendency for people to balance out certain extreme trends, because from what I saw of the BRAT trend, right, I feel like it can be taken a little bit too extremely, like being too overconfident, where you're like,
to the extent where you're imposing on the rights or the well-being of other people,
essentially.
Like I think the original like creator of Demure and Mindful was like, you don't have to come to work with a green cut crease, like you don't have to be so distracting where
you don't have to explode into the room.
Well, I think there's certainly a time and place for that, but at the same time, it's not a bad thing.
But there are certain times when it's not very appropriate, like work. Like a lot of the videos I think Selena showed me about being Demure was really in the context of the workplace.
Like, is it right? Like people actually being considerate to people in work, and that's not bad. Like it's actually a good thing to be mindful of, putting things back for the sake of other people, waiting in line, eating quietly, being considerate in general is a great thing. So
throwing things out in the open just because you couldn't find a trash can.
That's so funny. But like, and I was thinking to myself, does it really have to be one or the other? Like, right? You can still be BRAT.
You can still be confident.
But that doesn't have to be in the way where you're not considerate and demure and mindful. Like, why are these things so separated in pop culture? Or maybe, that's just one way of interpreting it.
I guess this video is a nice way of integrating both these trends, right? These very separate trends that happen in their own times, and kind of bringing those two together in a way that's meaningful, like saying that we can be both.
Yeah, you can be both.
Yeah.
Like, I think it seems like BRAT was out of. I like where maybe Charlie XCX was trying to come from. Like, when you're being confident, like confidence doesn't mean that you're not insecure. Confidence doesn't. You can still be insecure, but we don't also necessarily have to wear our insecurity as a shield or as an armor. Because if we do, it can like what you said a while ago, Bells, right? Like Adler's concept of striving for superiority.
Yeah.
What is that?
Honestly, when you showed me the videos of BRAT, I immediately thought of Adler's concept of striving for superiority, which essentially states that as people, when we're born, right, we're born weak, we're born fragile. We're not capable of taking care of ourselves. That's why our parents are there to feed us, to clothe us, to do all the things that we couldn't. But something inherent about being weak and fragile kind of developed in us the need to overcome that weakness, that childishness. So as we grow up, as we develop, depending on how we were raised, right, we can see the success as pushing other people down to make us feel stronger. Or on the other hand, we can see success as connectedness, as something that we can all achieve together, right? So instead of pushing others down to achieve success, instead we lift each other up.
Yeah.
So that really that's what I initially thought when I heard, or when you showed me what BRAT was. Because it's true, it depends on how you're brought up, right? You can have insecurities, but how it manifests can change depending on how you see success.
Yeah.
If you see success as something you need to fight for, something you need to bring others down for so you can be at the top, then that's how you will achieve it.
Yeah.
You'll be overconfident. You'll show how much stronger you are over others, as essentially, like we said, a defense of our insecurities.
Yeah.
Or you can be someone who's accepting that you're insecure, but that doesn't make you weak, and you can lift others up whilst as a way of achieving your own success.
Yeah, I love that. Like, right, and that theory about BRAT is like it's like the extreme negative way that someone could interpret BRAT. And and of course people may be prone also to be interpreting that way, like shades of narcissism rather, where narcissism is really about like thinking that you deserve special rules, like rules don't apply to you.
Yeah.
So and
You're
like
special baby.
You're a special baby, and you deserve special treatment at all costs. And while it's good to be confident in your abilities and to be at peace with I can be confident while still having weaknesses and insecurities, it doesn't mean that you can keep on imposing yourself, breaking rules at the extent of maybe like compromising the safety, well-being
maybe
of others, the comfort of others. On the other side of things, you shouldn't, it's good to be considerate, but you don't have to be so considerate to the extent where you're compromising your sense of self or your self-expression.
So I think that's the Demure trend, right?
Yeah, that's the Demure trend. It's like,
It's good to be considerate, but also balancing that out by saying that we can be considerate without compromising our own well-being.
I think that's where like we're trying to get at, or at least our conversation is trying to get at. But it's more of I don't want people to just completely swing the other way of the Demure and mindful trend. Just like if people can take BRAT too extremely, then
we can also take
being demure, being too mindful, too extremely to this extent where you feel like you always have to conform to other people's expectations or rules. That's not necessarily the case.
I can definitely say that's a real concern that I've encountered with a lot of clients, especially since we're in a collectivist society, we're in an Asian society, so we really prioritize everyone else's needs sometimes over our own, because we feel like that our success depends on how other people perceive us.
Yeah, like even like in Japan, right? Like it's considered rude to if you speak really loudly or if you cause like public disruption. And generally in a lot of Asian countries, like if you wear very outspoken clothes, revealing even. Oh, of course, like not everyone believes that, but like the general, tradition
these
here is
break
values.
out of our values, our norms. So it's, in a sense, we tend to tone these parts of ourselves down because we want to conform to our societal expectations, and that's understandable, especially in Asian.
Collectivist cultures, and any culture where you really value the harmony of the group over everything else,
and it's real.
Yeah, but at the same time, that taken to the extreme is like not speaking
yourself.
up. Like not speaking up or
In a sense, kind of losing yourself for the sake of conformity.
Yeah. For example, like let's say you're really within your family even. Well, this is another topic, but let's say it's really toxic. There's a lot of toxic dynamic in your family. You know, people verbally abusing other people, maybe even more. Is it very might be demure and mindful to not say anything in the family, but
Just accept it.
just accept
let
it, just tolerate it. But
it will pass.
but yeah,
But at the same time,
but maybe
understanding if this is something that you should tolerate, right? Because there's a point of consideration where it's not consideration anymore. It's just allowing, kind of letting go.
Allowing other people to walk all over you and trespass on your boundaries. So it's not either or. I think I just wanted to talk about that today. Like it's not either extreme brat or extreme demure. Like there's a way to be both.
I think it's good that you wanted to talk about this, because we do have a tendency for extremism sometimes, especially when it comes to trends, because of course we want to engage the minds of the masses, right? So we try to bring out the craziest things, but what's a way we can find a middle ground between these two trends of being a brat, of being too confident, and also of being too demure, being to the point where you can kind of lose your sense of boundaries.
Yeah, and your sense of self. There's a way to do that. Like, yeah, fine. You might not go to work with a green cut crease, but there's, by all means, you should still wear things that you like. You know, maybe things that respect maybe the dress code where you're working at. If that's really your bread and butter as your day job, you need to keep that job to survive in this economy. You don't have to wear something that's so distracting where other people, might find it a little,
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, might make other people uncomfortable, but you could still wear something that expresses your sense of self and save all of the other things for when you're out with your friends during the weekend. But by all means, wear a little bit of glitter on your eye. Wear a little bit of
That's me right now.
Wear some brat green on your, I don't know, somewhere.
Blood red lipstick, maybe.
Yeah, not too bloody. Maybe not real blood.
We do not recommend.
Not real blood.
We do not
definitely.
recommend.
We definitely don't recommend that here.
Okay, thank you so much.
That's all we wanted to talk about today.
I hope you enjoyed our video, and I hope you learned something.
Yeah, and it's a point of reflection too. Yeah. Where do you sit on the spectrum, and which side could you learn a little bit? Yeah, do you lean towards one?
Do you lean more towards brat? Do you lean more towards demure? Or are you the kind of person who kind of sits right in the middle?
Yeah, and if you don't sit in the middle, if you do lean towards one end or the other, then what can you learn from the other side, right?
Yeah,
we can always learn something.
Yeah, so if you had anything that you learned or you want to ask us about, or you have any ideas for another video, just let us know down in the comments.
Yeah, we read every single one of them, because
there aren't that many.
Not yet. There will be soon. Manifested. Woo!
Every single one's important. Bye.